You think your 9-to-5 job is stressful? Try spilling tea in a Yakuza boardroom, where the penalty is not getting fired. It is losing your pinky finger. Welcome to the world's most dangerous corporate ladder. This is not a movie. This is the reality of the Japanese underworld. If you want to climb to the top of a multi-billion-dollar criminal empire, you are going to have to bleed for it. Quite literally, today, you are going to experience exactly what it takes to survive every single rank of the Yakuza. From a street-level thug scrubbing toilets, to the absolute god of the criminal underworld. Buckle up, because your life expectancy just dropped significantly. Right now, you are at the absolute bottom of the food chain. You are a chinpira, a street punk, a nobody. Forget about the tailored Armani suits, the luxury black sedans, and the terrified respect from the public. You do not get any of that. You wear cheap tracksuits. You live in a cramped, dirty apartment. Your daily routine consists of doing the absolute worst jobs the organization has to offer. You are not a glamorous gangster. You are a glorified janitor who occasionally beats people up. You wake up before dawn to clean the headquarters. You scrub the toilets until they shine. You wash the cars of the higher-ranking members. You do their laundry. You fetch their cigarettes. If a senior member drops ashes on the floor, you wipe it up with your bare hands. And if you make a mistake, you do not get a written warning from her. You get a vicious beating. You are expected to endure physical and mental abuse without making a single sound. You being broken down. The organization needs to know if you have the absolute obedience required to be a true Yakuza. You spend your nights shaking down small-time gamblers, collecting petty debts, and acting as a human shield if a fight breaks out with a rival gang. You are entirely disposable. If you get arrested, you keep your mouth shut and take the fall. If you die, nobody attends your funeral. You are just a tool. But let us say you survive this miserable existence for a few years. You do not complain. You take the beatings. You show unwavering loyalty. Finally, you catch the eye of a higher-up. You are ready for the next step. You are about to become a made man in the Japanese Mafia. This brings us to the Sakazuki ceremony. The blood oath. This is the most sacred ritual in the Yakuza world. It is held in a heavily guarded, traditional tatami room. You sit across from the Oyabun, the supreme boss, or a high-ranking proxy. An altar is set up with fish, salt, and sake. A Shinto priest oversees the ritual. You are dressed in a traditional kimono. The tension in the room is suffocating. This is the moment you officially sever ties with your biological family. The Yakuza is your family now. The Oyabun is your new father. The senior members are your older brothers. The sake is poured into traditional cups. Your cup is filled only halfway. The boss's cup is filled to the brim, symbolizing his absolute superiority. You drink the sake. You wrap the cup in paper and keep it in your kimono. From this exact second onward, your life no longer belongs to you. It belongs to the family. An order from the boss is an order from God. If he tells you to jump, you do not ask why. You ask how high. If he tells you a white crow is black, you agree that the crow is black. Congratulations, you are now a kumi-in, an official family member. A rank-and-file soldier. This is where the real money and the real danger begin. You finally get to wear the iconic tailored suits. You are assigned to a specific territory, perhaps the neon-lit streets of Kabukicho in Tokyo. Your primary job is collecting Mikajimuryo, the protection money from bars, clubs, and hostess hosts. You walk into a club, and the owner immediately bows and hands over a thick envelope of cash. You are not just a thug anymore. You represent the terrifying reputation of your syndicate. But there are strict, unspoken rules you must follow. The Yakuza pride themselves on a twisted code of honor called Ninkyo. You do not target ordinary citizens without a reason. You do not commit petty street crimes like mugging or theft. Doing so brings immense shame to the family. Your violence must be calculated, professional, and strictly business-related. However, to truly cement your status and strike fear into the hearts of your enemies, you need the ultimate symbol of the Yakuza. The Arizumi, the full-body tattoo. This is not something you get in a sterile parlor in a single afternoon. This is a grueling, agonizing ordeal that can take hundreds of hours and cost tens of thousands of dollars. You must endure the traditional tebori method. The tattoo master uses a wooden stick with a cluster of steel needles attached to the end, physically jabbing the ink deep into your skin, stroke by bloody stroke. The pain is absolute torture, especially around the ribs and the spine, but you cannot scream, you cannot flinch. Enduring this excruciating agony proves your toughness and your commitment to the underworld. You are marking yourself for life. Once the ink is under your skin, there is no turning back. You carry the dragon, the koi fish, or the samurai on your back as a permanent map of your sins. You are now a walking weapon of the syndicate. And you are about to step into the cutthroat world of middle management, where the stakes are millions of dollars, and the penalty for failure is a severed finger. You think having intricate tattoos and wearing a tailored suit makes you untouchable. Try losing $100,000 of the syndicate money. Welcome to the middle management of hell. You have climbed the ranks and are now a shite or a coyote, a younger or older brother. You step out of the dark, rain-slicked alleys and into the fluorescent lights of the corporate world. You are no longer just breaking legs in the streets. You are breaking banks. You run front companies, real estate firms, talent agencies, construction businesses. You master the terrifying art of Sokaya, corporate extortion. This is how you make the real millions. You buy a small number of shares in a massive, legitimate corporation, just enough to gain legal access to their annual shareholder meetings. Then, you dig up their dirtiest secrets. Embezzlement, affairs, defective products. You march into the boardroom in your expensive suit, flanked by heavily tattooed muscle. You threaten to disrupt the meeting, expose their scandals to the media, and ruin their public image forever. Unless, of course, they pay your firm a massive consulting fee. The terrified executives always pay. You are wearing a gold Rolex, driving a black Mercedes, and funneling fortunes directly to your boss. You feel like a king, but with great power comes a terrifying lack of margin for error. In the normal corporate world, if you make a bad investment, you get demoted. If you hate your boss, you resign and find a new job. In the Yakuza, you cannot hand in a 2 weeks notice. You belong to the family until the day you die. And you just made a massive mistake. Maybe a real estate deal went sour and you lost gang funds. Maybe you got drunk and insulted a rival boss at a high-end hostess club, sparking a gang war. You have brought deep, unforgivable shame to your oyabun. To avoid a brutal execution in a soundproof basement, you must offer an apology written in blood. It is time for Yubitsum, the ritual shortening of fingers. You are completely alone in a quiet, dimly lit room. There is no one to hold your hand. There is no doctor. There are no painkillers. You place a small, perfectly clean white cloth on a wooden table. You take a razor-sharp tanto, a traditional Japanese short sword, and lay it beside the cloth. Your heart is pounding against your ribs. You place your left hand flat on the cloth, palm down. You align the cold steel blade right above the top joint of your pinky finger. You take a deep breath. You cannot hesitate. You press down with your entire body weight. The blade crunches brutally through the skin, the tendon and the bone. The pain is blinding. It sends horrific shockwaves through your entire nervous system. You gasp for air, but you force yourself not to scream. You quickly wrap the severed, bleeding fingertip in the white cloth. You carry this gruesome package to your boss and bow your head completely to the floor. This ritual dates back to the samurai era. By cutting off that specific joint, you have permanently weakened your grip on a sword or a gun. You have made yourself physically weaker and more dependent on the boss for protection. Your bloody apology is accepted. You live to see another day. You survive your mistake. You learn your lesson. You prove your worth through sheer ruthlessness and financial genius. You are officially promoted to Wakagashira Hosa, an assistant first lieutenant. The picture changes completely. You are a high-ranking executive now. You are no longer just collecting money. You are orchestrating war. You plan violent, calculated purges against rival syndicates. You study the streets like a chessboard. You coordinate drive-by shootings using weapons smuggled in from overseas. You give the orders that end lives. But you also have to be a sophisticated diplomat. You arrange massive, quiet bribes for corrupt police officers and politicians to look the other way when the bodies drop. You are balancing on a razor wire between extreme street violence and high society politics. You drink whiskey with lawmakers in the evening and order hits on rival gang members at midnight. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and you will not just lose another finger. You will lose your life in a sudden hail of bullets from a passing motorcycle. You are dangerously close to the top, which means there is a target permanently painted on your back. You have finally reached the top. But on this mountain peak, the only things waiting for you are absolute isolation and a guaranteed life sentence. You are now the Wakagashira, the second in command, the supreme enforcer of violence. You are the one holding the leash of 1,000 rabid dogs. You control the streets with an iron fist, managing the daily operations of a massive criminal empire. You no longer need to raise your voice. A simple nod of your head can order the execution of an entire rival clan. But this is the most dangerous position in the entire underworld. You are the ultimate target. You do not just wear Italian silk suits anymore. You wear custom-fitted bulletproof vests underneath them. You do not drive luxury sedans. You travel in heavy armored vehicles with blacked-out windows, surrounded by a convoy of heavily armed bodyguards. Every time you step out of a restaurant, every time you walk to your car, you are expecting the deafening crack of a sniper rifle or a point-blank shotgun blast. You cannot trust anyone. Not your enemies. Certainly not your ambitious underlings who are eagerly waiting for you to die so they can take your place. The paranoia eats away at your sanity every single day. You cannot sleep. You cannot relax, you are a prisoner of your own rank. But you survive the paranoia and the endless assassination attempts. The old boss passes away, and you are officially chosen to take the throne. You are now the Ayabun, the godfather, the supreme father of the syndicate. You have reached the absolute pinnacle of the Japanese underworld. You oversee a sophisticated, multi-billion-dollar conglomerate that controls everything from illegal gambling and widespread extortion rings to legitimate construction firms and international entertainment agencies. Tens of thousands of men bow so low their heads touch the floor when you enter a room. Your power is absolute and terrifying. If you hand a loyal soldier a loaded gun and tell him to end his own life, he will pull the trigger without a single moment of hesitation. You live in a sprawling, heavily fortified compound guarded by an army of loyal foot soldiers. You collect priceless art, drink the finest whiskey in the world, and command fear from the highest levels of government. You are an untouchable god among men. Or so you thought. Let us shatter that cinematic illusion right now. This is not the 1980s anymore. The golden age of the Yakuza is completely dead. The Japanese government has implemented brutal, suffocating anti-gang ordinances. As the supreme boss of a designated crime syndicate, you are entirely paralyzed by the law. You have billions of yen in hidden cash, but you cannot legally open a simple bank account. You cannot sign a lease for an apartment. You cannot even buy a cheap cell phone in your own name. If you go to a public golf course or a hot spring, you will be arrested immediately just for being there. If you get sick, modern hospitals will refuse to treat you. You cannot even get a pizza delivered to your mansion. You are a billionaire ghost trapped inside your own country. You have sacrificed your fingers, your blood, and your morality to build an empire, only to end up living in a gilded cage. You are the most powerful man in a world that no longer exists. The police are constantly watching your every move, waiting for the slightest excuse to lock you in a concrete cell until the day you die. So let me ask you a question. Would you be willing to chop off your own finger and live the rest of your life as a hunted outcast, just to experience one day of absolute power as a Yakuza boss? Let me know your answer in the comments below. And if you thought the Japanese underworld was terrifying, you are absolutely not ready for our next journey. Hit that subscribe button right now, because next time, we are crossing the border to experience the unimaginable brutality of the Mexican cartels, where losing a finger is the absolute least of your worries. See you in the next one.